All right. Before I start, I got the message, by the way, about the intro I did a couple of videos ago. No more intro like that. The fact that you're all Philistines and can't appreciate a bit of Lemmy and Motorhead is your problem, not mine. Anyway, I might do another intro at some stage. I quite like doing that. Anyway, David Starkey is popping up in my feed all the time at the moment, and I'm like going, yeah. Why is all that then? Because I certainly haven't been subscribing to David Starkey. When I listen to podcasts on Spotify and it ends, it seems to just auto play a David Starkey one. YouTube, just here you go. Why not listen to this David Starkey? And I go, I don't really want to. And it'll be like, no, you really should. You should listen to this David Starkey chap. Anyway, so I know there's going to be people saying, why have to go to David Starkey? Winston, I like David Starkey. He's based. He said there's so many goddamn blacks. And he did say that, didn't he? But he did get in trouble, didn't he? And I wonder if a little bit of time on the naughty step, and so maybe some people had a little chat with him, said, look, do you want to come back into play? But, we're going to need you to, reinvent yourself, be a little bit more pro. We're not going to say you're pro-establishment. But you're definitely in the pro-reform group. And so that has been made absolutely clear to me. And everything I've ever sat down and listened to recently, when David Starkey's been on, he's of that narrative that, don't divide the right, restore is dividing the right. You should get behind reform and the Tories. Okay, now obviously I hate reform and the Tories, so there's absolutely no chance I would, but there's a lot of people that can be persuaded by this. And so this leads me to the recent one I listened to, and that was with him and Tommy. And Tommy went, when asked about Nigel Farage and reform, or when it came up, he was quite gentle on Nigel Farage. And my little ding, ding, ding started going off in my, the bells started going off because I did a video a little while ago and I was, tongue in cheek, but I said, in the thumbnail was like Tommy and Nigel having a cuddle, just about to have a cuddle, and they love each other. But I was putting in there that be prepared that there could be an alliance formed between Tommy and Nigel to push reform, because the establishment might be saying, look, this Labour government can't go on like this, but we're the establishment. We still want to remain in power. So we own reform. Reform is the establishment. And we're going to give people the impression that they're voting for what they want, and we're going to give them what we want, because as we know, if voting mattered, we wouldn't be allowed to do it, would we? So let's wait and see what happens with Nige. If this comes up, if he's asked about, and this will have to be in the next day or so, if he's asked about, or shortly after the event on Saturday, let's wait to see whether he's, the United Kingdom event, sorry. Let's wait and see whether Nigel is a bit more like, no, look. I've said things about Tommy in the past. Look, listen. Tommy's done some bad things, right? Okay, I don't approve of that. But he really has been really very good on Islam and the problems we have with Islam. And, that's not to be, I'm trying to do a Nigel Farage impression. It's bad, isn't it? Sorry. But he's gonna end up saying stuff like that, I think. And if you hear him soften on Tommy in United Kingdom, and he certainly says, and the good people that go to those events are clearly worried about their country, and they're not far right at all. Now, look, it's like something like that. And people are going to go, Starmer's never going to step down. I mean, Starmer is hilarious at the moment. How in control he's got all of their balls. All of them are managing to fit in one hand, the entire Labour Party. And he's going, I've got your balls here. I control this. He's a badass when it comes to that, isn't he? Holding on to his power. But at the end of the day, he is controlled. And the same people that would, in my opinion, are controlling Nigel and possibly have quite some influence over Tommy as well. They say, Tommy's like, no, that's not what I stand for. It's not what I stand for. And they go, look, shiny coins. Look at all the shiny coins. And he goes, ooh, they look nice. So, I know I'm pissing off everybody. I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. So they're saying, but Starmer's not going to step down, and it's going to be like, oh, yeah, but they can destroy him like that, and he knows it, and they will just let him know. All of a sudden the media will start running non-stop stories about rent boys setting fire to his house, and it'll just be round the clock, and eventually it will be he's got to go. And if he still refuses to go at some stage, he may just get really, really sad and do something to himself. So that's my shout now, because if the establishment doesn't want there to be a general election, then there won't be. You could have 2 million people in London this weekend demanding it, because that's what the stated aim is, to force a general election. 20 million people could go. 50 million people could literally be demanding and shouting for a general election. And if the establishment don't want to give it to you, you ain't getting it. It will come down to, like general strikes and shut the country down until we get what we want eventually. And I think that is the threat that they're going to have to realise can come true before they actually do anything. So I don't know if I've got anything else to comment on, but that was the point of this video. Yes, I'm properly fucking mental, aren't I? But if a general election is called, it's not going to be because Tommy and the United Kingdom called for it. They will claim that, and everyone will believe that, but your Winston here, he's been pointing this out for a while, that it won't happen unless they decide it's going to happen. And a continuation of the establishment means Labour just passes the baton to Reform, and Reform try to sort of sprint finish, the final leg to our total destruction before we sort of wake up properly and take the country back for ourselves. So anyway, hopefully though, if there is a snap general election, I know that Restore are not going to just put paper candidates out there, but hopefully they're vetting enough good people at the moment so that there's going to be the option that many of us may have on our ticket to put an X in the Restore box. And who knows, a few based Restore MPs in that chamber making a noise and reminding and undoubtedly there will be some decent based MPs for Reform, because MI5 won't have been able to vet every single one by that time, and they'll be sitting there going, well, this isn't what I came here for. I came here for this, this and this. And Nigel's going to say, now look we'll take away the whip, you're out, you're out unless you play the party line. Anyway, I'll call it an end there. And yeah, let me know how fucking nuts am I. Anyway, I hope you all have a lovely day. See you, bye.